Greetings, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Andromeda 7 Celestial Gateway, your community for support, friendship, knowledge, limitless love, and being of value the best way we possibly can to whoever we can. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Teresa, your show co-host with Lori, Pure Love Ascension.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Glad you're here.
We have Grandpa Brian back on to help us with this tonight. Thank you for coming, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you don't look like a grandpa. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, you do not.
And our Australian sister, Jules from Australia. And
hello, everybody.
Our brother, Dalibor from Germany. Thank you for coming on, being with us. And hello to everyone in chat. And in a few minutes, Lori is going to do her usual call out. Right, Lori?
Right on.
But tonight, we're very pleased to be able to help set some framework up for Brian's visit with us on Friday, where he's going to get into some Reiki healing, talk a little bit more in depth about the healing process, and also for anyone, as I understand it, anyone in chat who might have a need for a friend or family or even themselves can put out a request on Friday, and Brian will send out some healing, and we'll all support him in that effort. So that'll be a nice session on Friday.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
But if you read the YouTube channel description, folks, it all begins in the mind, in your thoughts, and in how you control your emotions, has a big part in healing the body as well. So in order to receive healing in your physical body, so it's sometimes a good idea to have been going through your inner works and your practices to deal with the emotional issues and traumas and experiences that we all have. So that's what we're doing tonight. Lori is very good at leading people in that way, and she has created a video that she'll be playing for you. She put her heart into it, and she did a great job. So I hope you'll enjoy it. And I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, and we'll have a great show. And thanks for coming.
Thanks, Teresa. That was awesome. Hey, let's go ahead and acknowledge everybody in chat. Elderberry, good to see ya. Hi, Kelly. Kitty Cat, good to see ya. Let's see, who else do we have?
Jojo.
Johan, good to see you.
Hi, Jojo.
Who else? I think that's it. We got a short.
I missed her
crowd
laughy
tonight.
face. You know that?
I know.
Jojo's face, which she's always laughing.
Yeah.
We got to miss you, Johan. You've got to.
I do. Jojo, we miss you. Yeah.
I don't know how to get a hold of you outside of Facebook anymore to send you a link to see if you ever want to join in, but love to have you on.
Here. Yeah.
Yep.
Most definitely. All right.
Squirrel buddy.
Yeah. Yep. Got your squirrel buddy. Yeah. Okay. So put together a little bit of a video just to kind of give us something to discuss after the video, and just kind of get into this emotional healing, the power of your brain, the power of your thoughts, being able to kind of situate your thoughts and maybe a bit compartmentalize and just organize those thoughts. And so let me go ahead and get this video going for you. And this will explain a lot about why we're here tonight. And let's go ahead and enjoy this quick video for y'all. All right. Whoop. Emotional healing is the ability to acknowledge events and circumstances in our lives that may hinder us from moving forward. It's a process that allows us to take control of our feelings and emotions. Emotional healing can stem from many circumstances, whether it's coming out of a long-term relationship, the loss of a job, getting over a sickness, or losing a loved one. The list can go on. During and even after these events in our lives, we usually start to experience feelings of stress, anxiety, depression, or even self-sabotaging behaviors, which can eventually overwhelm us. If you're thinking, I've never experienced any of those situations, but I still do have those pretty crappy days, it's important to remember that Everyone at some stage in their life may experience times of distress, regardless of what event or circumstance you have come across. It's crucial for your healing to acknowledge your situation, let yourself be present, feel all of the emotions, and let nature run its course. Now here comes the good part. The beginning of the healing process. Like everything in life, good things take time. And it's important to remember that when it comes to healing from within, it can feel like a bit of a dance. Think of the cha-cha. You can take 2 steps forward and feel your absolute best. But then you may take another 2 steps back and feel as though you are back to square one. Although annoying, this is all part of the healing process and teaches us that healing is never linear. When we are healing emotionally, it can be hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's easy to miss signs that we are actually getting better. Here are some subtle signs to show that you are actually, in fact, getting better, or at least heading in the right path. Although everyone's journey is different, we all have the capability to heal from within. It may not be an overnight transition, but it's important to remember that time heals all. Don't forget to lovingly accept the rewards you are receiving from all of the hard work you're doing. Each one of us have had their share of intense traumas, and recognizing the trauma is the first step, but allowing it to move on and be something that is in the past is your greatest power. It's okay to never forget that trauma, but it's okay too to put it in its place and to be good with that. It happened, I acknowledge it, but it does not define or make me who I am today. And that is the power of self. And self-love is the key to curing that ailment.
Here,
Boom.
here.
Boom.
That is the key. Self-love. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that video, Lori.
Yeah, my
Appreciate
pleasure. What'd you think, Jules? What's your
Well,
thought?
I knew we were going to talk about emotion, and so I was going to put pro in front of motion. Pro motion, which is forward. And you get a promotion when you've advanced, and pro means, good, or, pros and cons, right? Forward.
Right.
For. Of course, con for me, if you look at that word, it's not saying you're being conned. It actually comes from C-O-M, which means together. So whichever way you want to look at it, it can be confusing as well. But that, again, means coming together fused. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like
Instead
it.
of going, that's how I look at it. I know.
Promo also, to me, of course, I would think of this, is self-promoting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a promotion is putting yourself out there in a positive light.
Mm-hmm. Being your own cheerleader, right?
Yeah. So you're thinking of yourself in terms of, I feel great, I look great, today is great, my life is great. It's just all the positive affirmations.
Yeah. How
not
about
the
you,
negative.
Grandpa Brian? What does emotional healing mean to you? I mean, how would you define that in your terms?
It's a releasing of, it could be many different things. One thing I do know is if they taught self-love, say in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade, I do believe the depression would be less than 80%, or probably less than 20%.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people that are depressed, it's because they don't have self-love.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of emotional healing work, and majority of the healings that we've done, it is actually stuff that they have suppressed from early ages.
It's a lot of it is childhood traumas, and sometimes they're very difficult to let go. I know I have some pretty traumatic things that happened to me very young, and it took me decades to come to terms with it. So nobody by any means is saying that all this is going to be okay in just by the way that you're constantly thinking and that things are magically going to disappear. It doesn't work that way.
No.
You've got to put the work in. You've got to do the work. You have to stay vigilant about it. You've got to have some care with yourself. You got to take it easy on yourself, and bit by bit and little by little, you learn to cope with that. You learn to put it where it needs to be. And you also know that it is something that happened in the past. It's a day in the past, or it's a moment in the past that occurred, but that's not your current moment. It's not what's happening right now.
Right.
That's true. Hey, Delabar, what about you? What for you?
Well-
What's emotional healing?
Well, see, emotional healing is something that you need when you suffer some kind of emotional loss. And of course, there's two different types of emotional losses: those that occur through no fault of your own, and those that occur through your own fault.
Ooh,
Those
that's
that
a
occur
really
through
good point.
through no fault of your own, like let's say the death of a loved one, or like let's say you were living in previous times and you ended up in Stalin's gulag. Well, those are traumas that you're not really meant to heal from. Those are traumas that you take on with you through the rest of your life, and they form who you are as a person. The other losses that you need emotional healing from are those that are self-caused. And you reference things like the loss of a job or the loss of a relationship. Well, chances are if you lost that relationship or that job, that it was probably a sucky relationship or a sucky job, in which case you had nothing to lose, and your attitude in that relationship or in that job was such that it was the best possible solution for you and for the employer, for you and the partner or whatever. And so in that case, it's best to reframe it and say to yourself, okay, well, this job sucked. I got fired from my McDonald's job, so from here on out I can only get a better job. If this is like hypothetically the worst possible job I can get and I'm doing it and I got fired from it, that just means I'll get a better job than this one.
Right.
And
that's a positive way to look at it. Yeah,
with the relationship, same thing, which means I got dumped or she was cheating on me because this wasn't the right relationship for me, and the fact that it ended is a good thing. It's actually a good thing. So part of that part two of those losses that are through your fault, part of that involves reframing. So you have to put it into context. Like, is this important enough that I should be depressed about it? Is this enough? The fact that I didn't win an auction for an 1878 one florin coin for 20 euros or something like that, is that important enough to get depressed about? No.
Right. It's funny because people who are going through, like, say, a breakup, like I've kind of dealt with some stuff like that this afternoon, and I felt from a spiritual level, I knew why it was happening to this person, and I understood what the connection was. But when they're going through it, and let's just all go back and go through your first breakup and how devastating that was and how hard it was to get through all that, and it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It really is. But it's contractual, that first breakup is the contract between you and another soul to experience that and to learn and grow from it. So what I tried to explain to this person was to look at it from a growth aspect and not so much from a heart space. But that's difficult when it's a first time feeling, and you really got to feel those emotions. You really got to go through the turmoil and all that comes with it, right? So it's not just that easy to say, oh, I'm fine, everything's good, I'm okay. You really got to go through it. You really got to process, and you just have to understand that it's not a forever thing. that door closing means there's going to be another door to open and there'll be new things to experience, but it's just a moment in time, a very valuable lesson that you're learning. I think that's important to remember.
Yeah, as you said, every disaster, every war on earth that has ever occurred has ended. Every pandemic has ended at some point. We just don't know when.
Right.
But
And it's
to know
like
that
Jules says, yeah, what's good about this? Look at what is positive about this situation. And I've been on this little kick the last couple of days because of Jules' little prompting of that.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't matter what it is. The worst possible case scenario, I just find myself going, well, what's good about it? And I'm saying that to other people now. Well, what's good about this situation? And they look at me like, we're not talking about what's good. We're talking about what's bad. And I'm like, no. Seriously, what's
right,
good about it? What's right about it? You know,
What's right about it that you
and
don't
then they
get?
start thinking
in positive terms of
And
a
then-
solution.
yeah, and that gets that momentum going, and
Takes the
that's
anger
when-
and frustration
and the angst.
and the
Yeah.
angst out of it so that you
Yeah.
can have a more positive outlook, and then you can really open your mind to be more creative about problem solving.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could choose to be angry and frustrated, or you can actually make things happen. And that's the way you transform yourself,
Yeah, and you
transform
can
your
heal
mind.
yourself. You can really,
Mhm.
from the inside out, you can heal yourself. Yep, this part of my life is over. It's time to move on from this. It's okay. Everything is good. I'm healthy. I'm happy. Everything is wonderful. And just even if you have to fake it, just like Trina, says, fake it till you make it kind of a thing. Do whatever it takes to keep that positive flow going. Hey, I just want to let everybody know, Michelle Canham-Free's in the house. Hello, McFree. David Castle, give that love to the Wookie boy.
Mary Wynn's joined us.
Mary Wins. Hi, Mary. Good
And
to see you.
Delaney.
And Delaney Pearl Jones.
Hello, Delaney.
Yeah, Delaney says, I send out my black pearl healing upon you all, that you become the shining star and shining star you truly are. Awesome, Delaney.
Yes,
You are
Jojo,
amazing.
what are we learning from the experience? That's another good question.
Yeah.
What's right about this, and what are we learning from this?
Yeah. Exactly. Cajun Queen, good to see you, Lois.
Hey, Princess.
It's been a
Hello,
while.
Lois.
It's been a minute. Good to see you.
So good to see you,
Yeah.
Cajun Queen.
It just seems like you just get overloaded with just life, and trying to get to a point where you're having a better day. Each moment, it's got to get better. It's going to get better. Things are going to move. Forgive yourself, forgive others, see it for what it is. It's just a lesson. It's just something we're learning. And a lot of times too, it's contractual. You come into this life and there are other souls, and you all have this contract with each other, and you've got to carry it out. And it isn't easy. This is the hard stuff. We're here doing all the hard work. But yeah.
I think one of the things I've was talking to you about the past couple of weeks is I think we have high winds in Australia coming through the microphone. Either that or Jules has got some heavy breathing going on there. What are you doing, Jules?
No, I'm just creaking my chair.
I hear wind.
High winds.
Okay.
High winds. High winds. Anyway, it's some of us have been through a lot of trauma. And trauma, how do you define trauma? Well, it can be something like a car accident or the loss of a child or something really tragic. It's what most people think of when they think of the word trauma. But in reality, trauma also incorporates, it can be very traumatic going through a breakup like you were just talking about. It can be very traumatic to lose a friendship, or you lose your house, wreck your car. There's all kinds of trauma. And people, and I'm a primary example of it, for years and years and years, just kept reliving it over and over and over in my mind. So what it does is it in effect, I was setting myself up for future failure, because the more I kept thinking about it, the more I felt guilty about things, or I felt hatred or anger towards someone else. And so it builds up in your system. It builds up in your mind. And so everything you look at is tainted. You know, you're looking at a glass half empty. You're looking you're looking through dark
You're looking
lens.
at what's wrong about it instead of
everything.
What
And
am
so
yeah.
it becomes your suit of armor over your flesh bag here.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And you're reflecting that out. And so when you put that out there, you're getting all the negative energy back in. And so my question tonight for you, Lori, and the rest of the panel is, how do we break that cycle of, even if we've done our inner works and purged and gone through therapy and everything else, we still wear that suit because we've programmed ourselves.
I think it's really difficult for people to forgive themselves for the situation, for whatever their part is in it, whatever the connection is. It's very difficult for people to forgive themselves and to let go of the trauma. It gets sticky, It's like flypaper. It sticks to you, and it's getting it off of you is hard,
Well, just talking about it with other people. Now, I'm all for group therapy. I've been through tons of therapy. Other people have. There comes when the therapy needs to come to an end.
Yes, because all you're doing is rehashing. It's kind of like if you've ever been to an AA meeting.
Yes.
And you have all these people talking about their addictions to alcohol. And what's the first thing you want to do when you get out of that room? Is you want a drink because you've been talking about it for hours, right?
Constantly.
So probably you wouldn't want to be speaking about alcohol or your addiction to alcohol. You would want to be talking about other things to occupy your mind, things that can take your mind off of it. And being creative is a really good way to do that. If you like to paint, if you're a knitter, if you like to make music, if you like to play an instrument, anything that gets you in a creative mode is going to create some healing for you as well, and takes your mind off of the trauma and the drama of the trauma. It's a good way to let that go. But you've got to consciously be aware of the thoughts that are going on in your mind and pay attention to what you're telling yourself and stopping yourself when you get into that self-destruction mode. Go ahead, Jules. Go ahead.
When I was learning my energy work, going through this program that was with a group, and one of the things was, you just said everything's the opposite of how it appears to be. And nothing's the opposite of how it appears to be. So when there's a situation going on, you just run those words through, and the mind's confused by what you're saying. And so you start to pull yourself out, because it is the opposite. If you rise above and look at it from another angle, as Jules always says,
yes,
this situation's happened. Well, go and have a look at it from up here. Because the person that's viewing your situation would go, why don't you have a look at it from this angle? Now, that was what changed me 13, 14 years ago, was someone gave me a different view to look at it from. So,
and that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I went, I hadn't seen it like that. So that's the main thing, is go to the top of the tree and just keep spinning around until you see it from a different angle. Right?
Yep.
Visualize yourself up there and just keep going, well, out here you can see I've got trees behind me, but I can't see them with the eyes in the back of my head. But because I'm on the screen, I can see them.
Yeah.
So, there's a different angle.
Yeah, it truly is.
Crystal's in the house, Susie Q's in the house, and Witchmoon 73. Welcome.
Good to see you all.
Crystal's got soapy hands. What else is new?
Awesome.
A lot of exactly like Jules said it. Yeah, you got to see it from a higher perspective, and sometimes that involves. Like I said, reframing it. What type of person would consider this a non-event? This thing that upset me so. Or would God see this as something really serious, or would, I don't know, somebody higher than myself see it as something serious? No.
Mhm.
But another thing to keep in mind is that a lot of these things that happen to us that seem to come out of nowhere are a reflection of ourselves. In other words, the people that are getting scammed all the time, those are the people who have like tendencies to want to do that to other people, you know. And you see that a lot online, the people who get suckered into these things, where, oh, she gave some online guy $39,000. Oh, that's because she was probably speculating on getting something in return, something for nothing. Or like some of these so-called 419 scams, where you get an email that sounds lucrative or whatever. It's that type of person that's expecting something from nothing, and the
Well,
universe
sometimes.
doesn't give you something for nothing ever.
Well, Dalibor, I would say that there's a certain amount of people that might be a scenario for. But you can take someone, well, like me, for example. I just found out that charges were put on my PayPal account for something I never signed up for or purchased. And I found out that 2 days later, another charge was run through Amazon Prime for a kid's movie that I never ordered. Now, I don't go around trying to screw people out of money, and I don't go around false advertising stuff. So it just happened to me, and now I've got to work my way through it. So sometimes things just happen to even those of us who have nothing but pure love and intent for everything else. So, and we have a ton of people.
The difference is how you deal with it.
Right. And so how I would have dealt with that, as Lori well knows, a year ago or so, I would have just been in an outrage.
Sure.
I would have been frantic. I would have made more financial mistakes. And I would have invited additional crap on top of it. But because I have a different outlook on things now, everything always is working out for me. Everything's always working out for me.
Always working out for you.
And what can I do to make this go away as expeditiously as possible so I'm back into that positive action scenario? So I hear what you're saying, though. There are folks out there that are just asking for it.
Yes.
And you know the person that I think fits that to perfection, Dalibor, would be, and here's one example, and there are many, a spiritually conscious person, maybe even a member of our community, who knows, that's still holding on to the old script that they created through years of tragic programming, that I'm just no good. I'm not worth it. Everything bad happens to me.
That's
I mean, they'll even be running the vacuum, and I used to do this, run the vacuum into the wall and go, I suck. Or I am so screwed up. I'm never ever going to get straight. Everything shit happens to me in figures. I just got this straight. I just got this, and now look what's happened to me. So it's all this negative self perspective. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah. Think about this. You have a connection to the universe, and let's just say it's my belief that the universe listens to you, that you put that energy out there, good or bad. It does not know good or bad, yes or no. It only knows yes. So when you put that kind of self-talk and self-doubt in your mind, the universe goes, okay, can do. We'll do that for you. I don't really want to do it, but that's what you're asking for. And I have to give you a lot of what you're asking for. So here you go. So if you can, in your mind, change the way you think, don't put the self-doubt in there. Don't say anything negative about yourself. Be aware of your thoughts. Listen to what's going on in your head. Think about how many times during the day that you put yourself down, or I'm stupid, or that was dumb. I don't know why I did that. And I see people do that around me all the time. And I'm starting to notice more and more how deep that programming is. But just as it can get easier to be positive in your mind than it is to be negative, but it takes practice. It's like a muscle. It's not
Yeah.
easy. You have to just start stopping that kind of thinking and not allowing
Yeah.
it to come into your now.
Flip the script.
And thank
Yep.
yourself. Just go,
Yeah.
thank you, me. Like
Mhm.
Truth Seeker said, thank you,
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
Write it in your journal and go,
Mhm.
thank you, me. Thank
Mhm.
yourself for everything you do. It's all
Yeah.
in here. Write it down. And once you've written it down, you can detach from it.
Yep.
Just
Well,
realize
it's
that
like
it's going to
uh,
happen.
it's
I've
like
got a-
conditioning. Like if
Yes.
you have a lotion to condition your dry skin,
Right.
you have a hair product to condition your scalp. There are things that we can do to condition our hearts and our
And your
minds
minds.
and
Mhm.
and language. The use of language, as Jules has been pointing out forever,
Mhm.
makes all the difference in the world. I'm sorry, Lori, you were going to say.
Yeah, I'm just curious how many people out there in chat and how many people here on the panel, how often are you grateful for something?
Every day.
Gratitude. There you go. 5 things a day. I always pick 5 things a day I'm grateful for. And the silliest things like the toilet. The other day, I'm like, thank you so much. Do you know how easy this makes eliminating the waste from my body? I mean, stupid little things like that you think are
Tell
just
me you
silly.
didn't hug the toilet, Lori.
Well, I've
Please.
hugged it in my time, that's for sure. Prayed to that guy
Bring some
too.
intervention, Kelly. Your sister's hugging toilets.
But I mean,
And
and
you
Kelly
are.
was telling me the other day, she said, I'm thankful for my shower. And I said, exactly. It's that kind of stuff. It's silly little things. Or I'll walk through my house and I grab the wall and I thank the wall for
See, I
holding
told
up
you
that
she's hugging her
roof
toilet.
and or you don't know how many times I've kissed the front of my car. I go out to my car and I kiss it and I tell it how beautiful it is and how gorgeous it is and how I thank it for getting me for where I need to go.
Now
And
that I can agree with. You have me doing that. I do.
I put a psychic hold on it when I park it.
Yeah.
And
just when you
those
open the
people
door,
that park the car way the hell out there and somebody still puts something or a dent. I don't even think about that. It doesn't even come into my mind. All I do is I put a bubble of psychic protection and intent around my car that no one's going to want to touch my car.
It's a good idea.
Harm's going to come to it.
Yep.
And then
I've been doing it.
Go.
I've been doing it and I got caught. Yeah. My neighbor came out, my friend Blake, he came down the front steps. I'm opening the car door and I go, whoa, to the top. He just stops and distracts and he goes,
see? People now check this out. What if you were out there kicking the tire and cursing it for some reason?
Yeah, then
nobody would even give you a second look.
No, they would
you
just
show
look,
favor
glance
to
and keep going. Yeah,
you're a nut job.
Yeah,
you're a nut job.
You're a nut job. Well, we know that, Lori. That's why we love you.
The way I look at it is,
say?
Sure.
Go ahead, Jules.
No, go on, Delabar. You go first,
Delabar.
mate.
Go ahead.
Well, the way I look at it is, you should really appreciate all the things in your life because, they tend to usually crap out at the worst possible time. But then again, don't get into the mindset that I sometimes have where you think, wow, now's a great time for my car to crap out, because or now's
you're
a
putting
great
it
time.
out there and the
You're
universe
putting it out there.
What
and you don't want that.
What did you just say? What do you, okay. Here it comes in spades coming at you.
Exactly. Exactly. So usually, like if I had a problem with my computer, it started out with one thing and I'm like, oh yeah, that's solved, but it's already like out there in the universe that I have a problem with my computer. So like another component fails. So I replace that, another component fails. So you got to be really careful. And it is what you would call mind control, where you have to like consciously take control of that subconscious mind and make it do what you want it to do. Like if you have a negative thought, I know it sounds really easy, but
it's simple, but it's hard to do.
It's hard to do.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just like if somebody says to you, like whatever you do, don't think of a pink elephant. Well,
right.
What's the first thing you're going to think of? You're going to think of a pink elephant.
Yep.
Yep.
That's like my parents. They used to say, don't look at the sun. There's going to be an eclipse. So me and my sisters would go, and look
Yeah.
right at the sun, and we'd be like,
And what did I
"Oh!"
just tell you not to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what they tell you in child development courses in class? I don't know how many have taken child development, but I had 2 years of it.
Mhm.
And they would always tell us when you're dealing with a small child between the ages of, 4 and 7,
Mhm.
preschool age, the worst thing you could possibly say is the word don't, because they only take in and hear a certain percentage of a sentence. So if you say, don't throw the ball at Stacy, they
Mhm.
hear throw ball at Stacy.
Right. Right.
That's what they hear, throw ball at Stacy.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful not to use the word don't. And I think that because of the types of things that we go through
Mhm.
with some of these traumas, there's a lot of don'ts. The doctors are
Right.
saying, don't do this, don't do
Or
that,
shoulda.
or should, or your
How
parents are
many
saying,
people
don't
say
do
I
this,
should do this?
shoulda.
Rarely say should anymore. I'm very conscious of it. I'll say
Right.
could because it's a choice. If I say should, then I'm putting that extra stress and
Yeah.
pressure on
I go,
myself.
no
to do
shoulda,
it.
coulda, wouldas. There's no
No
shoulda,
shoulda,
coulda,
couldas,
wouldas.
wouldas.
Remove that lexicon from
There's
your
no
vocabulary. Very important.
No shoulda.
And also the word
No,
hate. Never,
Mhm.
ever use the word hate
Mm-hmm.
because
See,
it gives it
no.
life.
another thing is wallowing in your own sorrow. That's
Yes.
Self-pity.
Self-pity, and you want to avoid that. And how do you avoid that? And you can't always do that. But let me tell you a short story. And this happened to a friend of mine who lives in Eastern Europe. She had a riding mower, and these are normally quite expensive affairs. And one day, her riding mower got stolen. So she called the police, and the police came, took about 500 pictures, the usual. Then got a letter that said we could not find the perpetrator. So what did she do? She went down to the local bar and sat next to the local thief and asked him if he knew who the thief was who stole her riding mower, because the local thief would not do it himself, but he would definitely know about the other thief who may have done it. So he's like, well, I don't really know, but I'll ask around. And so she found out who exactly stole her riding mower. So she paid her local thief about $200 to steal it back for her. So she got her riding mower back. So
Now, see how smart is that, and how
yeah,
awesome is that to flip the script.
that's flipping the script.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
she took control of the situation, and she did everything she could to get
Yeah.
that mower back.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Do everything in your control.
So it's not true that you said what some people say, two wrongs don't make a right, where in this case it was not really two wrongs. It was
Right.
really her taking her property back that she morally had.
She took control. I like that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, actually.
Mhm.
Very good. Good story. I love that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Teresa. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, putting yourself down just means you're going to, let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about the self-love comes from self-respect.
Yes.
So I still deal with difficult people in my life that have no self-respect. Therefore, they don't have respect for anybody else either.
Right. That's
And
right.
so, and that becomes a cycle for them, like a hamster in a cage, because I have no self-respect. I have none for you. You have none for me. That's my perception. Therefore, I have none for you. And it just keeps going like this.
Perpetuates.
And it leads to fights, and it leads to arguments, and it leads to all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
So, part of that, getting that self-respect back, is not only doing the inner works and facing the truths about you and things you may or may have done. It could be things that other people did to you, but you did something or something happened. And so how do you get that feeling of self-respect back? Get rid of that self-loathing, and you loathe yourself sometimes because you think that people did that to you because you deserved it. You tell that to a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old that they got abused because they deserved it. Yeah. Somehow they're taught that, well, you shouldn't have been here in the first place, or you weren't supposed to be here and you messed up our lives. And so for whatever reason a person is victimized, you have to stop playing the victim and regain your self-respect, regain your self-control, regain your self love and appreciation, and understand those things happened. They're in the past. Bury it. You'll never forget it because there's lessons to be learned from it. You can't get rid of it. You can't make it go away. What you can do is put it on the shelf like any other book you've already read.
I like
you just
that.
put it
That's a
on the
good
shelf.
analogy.
You just put it on
Excellent.
the shelf and move on and read another book.
Okay, that's a chapter in my life, but there it goes. I compartmentalize
Right,
it.
and I'm
There it
not
goes.
who I am because of what happened to me.
That's right.
Okay, so what happened doesn't define you.
No, but it
And
does
that's
make you
what folks
stronger.
out there need to understand is that things may have happened to you that were crappy. Whether you caused it or not, or whether it came from somebody else, it doesn't define who you are in
Right.
the now.
Right. Your
In
action.
now, you are a pure, loving, light spirit. You're full of energy. You have gifts and talents to share with people. You
Right.
have value. There's purpose in your life.
Right.
And if you don't think you have enough, create it.
That's
Create it just like I did here. There was nothing left for me. So I created it. So if you can get out of that, just you can't forget it, but let it go. Let it go.
And don't
Let it
focus
float
on
down
it.
the river. Put it on a shelf or let it float down the river. Don't focus on it and just be the best version of you that you could possibly be right now. And that's going to change from day to day as you expand your knowledge and your interaction with other people. But that's the message tonight, I think.
Yeah.
The most strongest message we have for emotional healing is you can't solve your diabetes or your arthritis or other chronic conditions or pains by being anxious all the time about what you were in the past. Doesn't matter anymore. It's who you are now that counts.
Right.
And once you embrace that and hug yourself, that's Michelle's message. Just be proud of who you are. Hug yourself, love yourself, and then from there, things will start to change for the better. And how you handle it. That I think that's pretty much it.
That's
you know?
beautiful. Yeah, that's
I really
exactly
do.
it.
And I see people in our own community that they're still having a hard time accepting themselves. They'll go to these chat rooms and they're still processing, so they'll share their tragedy. And then 2 hours later, you see them in another chat room and they're still talking about their tragedy. And it's because they don't think they're worthy and they haven't been able to step up to that and understand you are so worthy. You are so worthy that it doesn't matter. Those things just don't matter anymore. You are worthy of everything possible. You are one and whole and complete with the universe, and the universe will take care of you, and you can help other people. Sure, but talking about it constantly, you're just keeping yourself trapped in this little
Perpetuate
box.
that,
And there are
yeah.
no boxes.
That's
That
it.
ties in with the
Those are
wallowing.
things that you've created a perimeter around yourself for self-protection. I know this because I went through it. I thought I was protecting myself, and I still do it. Something happened to me a few days ago, and I was protecting, you know? And that's when you go inside. Lori said, you need to go see your inner child today. And I'm like, I do? I haven't been there in a while. But I did, and I'm so glad I did, because my inner child told me, this is what's going on. You've got to face up to this. You got to own it. And so that's how you handle an emotional response. I could have wigged out, or I could have freaked out, but instead I'm handling
Take charge, take
it.
responsibility.
And that's what you can do. You all have that power inside of you. You don't have to go from chat room to chat room and cry your guts out.
Yeah.
You just have to own that it happened and let it go.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do.
I love that. That's beautiful, Teresa. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Grandpa Brian, do you have anything to tell people? Anything that you could share that could help people understand how to heal emotionally?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. I have a 1 hour rule.
Okay.
Other than the trauma of losing a family member, I give that trauma 1 hour. I go into meditation. I think about it. I contemplate it. If the solution does not come to me within an hour, I release it. It's not mine. It was never mine. If it doesn't come to me how to solve it, then it wasn't mine to begin with. So why hold on to it? Release it.
Right.
The emotional healing, that's there's layers sometimes,
Yep. That's what we're
and
saying.
layers upon layers.
Yeah. And that's why,
And
yep.
that's why when we do ours, we have them sit laying in a zero gravity chair. You run your hand over them, and you'll feel energy spikes coming off of them. And these energy spikes are different parts of their life where they shove this emotion down to. So we recognize where the energy spikes are. The lower in the body, the younger you are. And if you get up near their head, it's stuff that's going on now, and it's mainly in their head. So, just say, for instance, when I went through it, believe it or not, the only baggage I was carrying was my mom's pain from the age of 8 years old. And that was because, I watched my dad beat my mom. And being the oldest, I know he beat on me, but I don't remember. I must have blocked all that out of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I love my dad. I never stopped loving my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgave him.
Yep.
And I moved past all that. And that was all I had. But, there's other people, I mean, it's a very complicated thing. And it's also, when you're helping them release this, it's actually kind of dangerous work, because a couple weeks ago when we were doing an emotional healing, this person, they had layer upon layer upon layer. Well, after we got done getting them in a chair, that chair, we move them to another chair, cover them with the blanket, give them water, because when you release emotions,
Yeah.
you drink water for a couple of days, because that'll help flush it out of your system.
Right.
So Jim asked me to keep working on him a little bit longer. So I kept working on him. Well, it started. I felt just a little bit of pain in my fingers, and within a couple minutes, the pain was all the way down to my elbow to where I could hardly stand it. I had to stop working on him, walk out of the building, take off my shoes, get into the grass where I connected to Mother Earth, and release that.
Transmute that. Yeah. Yeah.
And whenever I do that, I always kind of wrap it in love, and I ask Mother Earth, hey, this is someone's emotion that is getting released. I'm sending it to you to turn that back around into positive energy to send out to us.
Yeah. I've experienced that myself. Actually, today that happened to me as well. And it caught me by surprise for a few minutes, but I did understand what was going on, and I knew I was picking up that energy from this other person. And
yeah, it will catch you by surprise real quick, and all of a sudden you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
when you
attached
least
to me.
expect it. Yep.
And even if you put that protection over you, it's still because you're helping them release.
It's got to go somewhere.
It's got to go somewhere.
And you're the most positive. So the positive is attracting the negative.
Exactly.
You have that energy, then you're pushing it down into Mother Gaia to take it off of you,
Yes.
Yeah, but then she was in a position, though, of being a bridge between two individuals, and they each had their own emotions into that situation. And so I have found that when you're functioning as a conduit or a bridge between two parties, you have to, and she learned today, you have to take that energy that both of them are putting out there and not make it your own, but allow that connection to occur between them to heal.
Right.
But you have to push that energy back out and down. Give it to Gaia, or give it to the universe. Give it to Gaia.
It's kind of like wiping it off of your aura.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a mother and a daughter where I've actually linked. First I touch, get their forehead and I read them. They allow me to do that. I read their energy, and then I hold each of their hand, and I'm in the middle. And I am the bridge between them, and I allow each one of them to express their thoughts and emotions telepathically to one another. Don't say it out loud what you're thinking about your mom right now. Just say what you need to say. And Mom, don't say it out loud, because that's where the fighting occurs.
And the
You'll
need to be right.
the need to be right occurs, and so you just let them each think, have them breathe first, breathe in, breathe out, and just let it go, but don't say it verbally.
Mm-hmm.
And then let that energy exchange take place, and then you focus on the positive. Now that you two have done this, what things do you feel are good about what your mom's been doing? What do you like? Tell her. Go ahead and verbally tell her what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And then to the mom, go ahead and verbally tell the daughter of the good things that you've observed, what you like about that.
Mm-hmm.
And when they start hugging and laughing and crying, that's when you back out and you just give them each other their own hand. I take her hand, I put it in the mom's hand, I take the mom's hand, put it on the daughter's hand, and then I back away from it. And I put my intent, I'll put my hand on each of their shoulder and I give them my intent, and then I back away. And I've done this several times, and it really works. It helps bring that mother and daughter, son and mother together. But you have to have them in the same room without all the anger and all the emotion. But the problem is, the challenge is that as a conduit for that brief time, as a bridge, you have to be able to push that in, understand it's not your emotion. It's not your energy that you're taking on. It's theirs. And you just have to push it back out onto them or down or ground it. And I'll often ground it because it's negative energy, and that's what's causing them to fight in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you could do that for two people, why can't you do that for yourself when you're having an argument with somebody who's really problematic?
It's a good point. That's a really good point.
You're a bridge for somebody else, but
always easier to help someone else, but it's hard to help yourself, isn't it?
That's the thing.
It comes down to the other person, the willingness.
Mm-hmm.
So if the other person's not receptive and willing, then it's not going to work. If two people come together that wants to resolve this, then it's so much easier to work with that, because then they'll resolve. But if you only have one party wanting to resolve it and the other party's not, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not just a conflict between negative energies. Sometimes the conflict is between positive energies, where you have two people with a difference of opinion on the best course of action to do the same thing. Like, what's the best course of action to, bring this company out of the dumps? And one person has this idea, another person has another idea, but those aren't negative. They're just different streams of thought.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. You can have a lot of well-intended brothers and sisters in this soul tribe that have different perspectives on things, but they don't necessarily have to get heated. I mean, they're both coming from love. They just get heated and passionate about their subject to the point where they have to be right. They have to be right. It always comes down to having to feel like you're the right.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if you can shake that feeling of having to be right, it can be very powerful. You almost like if you get into an argument, say you come home, they've had a bad day, and you're like on cloud 9, and they're just, everything is negative coming out of their mouth, and then all of a sudden it starts sparking some energy between the two of you. I've found so much power in just being quiet and not saying anything. And just looking directly at that person and letting them vent, and not saying anything, but just letting them vent. It's so powerful. It is. It's incredible.
Well, how does that work for you when they're venting at you, about you, and throwing up a bunch of crap and cutting you down and insulting you?
Because you understand what they're doing, and you're choosing not to play the game.
Okay.
You're choosing not to engage.
Higher road.
Yep. You're taking, you're choosing to stay in a higher vibration, and you're not allowing their vibration to manipulate you or bring you to a stage where you don't want to be. And many, many, many times I have to just turn around and walk away. And that says everything.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in that, right, Jules? You do that.
Correct.
You're like,
yes, I do.
Bye. See ya.
Yep.
Remember when we first started talking and we were doing the messenger thing, and we were all kind of getting to know each other and everything, and there would be key times when things would get a little heated, and she would just pop out, and I thought to myself, well, that is brilliant. That Jules.
Yes.
Smart.
Yes. Cajun Queen.
Uh-huh.
Be willing to listen as well as speak. Try to relate some type of way to see how they feel. That's what I was just. Yes.
Yes, but I mean, if you get to the point where it's just not working, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes, you want to stay positive. You want to, see the positive things, but you got to be careful with that. But yeah, if it's getting to the point where you just can't deal with the situation, you've got to know to just turn around and walk away. Don't play the game.
Also, yeah, because you can't ever win an argument.
Mm-mm,
You can't.
mm-mm.
Even if you're right. See, the paradox
There's
here is
many
that usually the
versions of
people
right.
there's many
Yeah.
versions of right, yes, and also usually the most brainwashed people are the most convinced that they're the most right.
Well,
When
Yeah.
it's something ideological.
I see it as there is no right, there is no wrong,
No,
there
no,
just
wrong. Just
is. It just
yeah.
is.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's correct.
So when you come from
that's when when
Yeah.
I write right, I write it a different way it's spelt than the right that you think it is, and I'll write wrong the way that you don't think wrong's spelt.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
because the spell has been one of the major contenders with a lot of this anyway,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's true.
as we
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and this is where I was going to lead into what I wrote this morning because
Cool.
of talking about words.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you go sus, that's a bit sus, isn't it? S-U-S, it's a bit sus,
Mm-hmm.
right? It sounds like it's not right when you say, oh, that's a bit S-U-S.
Yeah.
But if you were to say it's sooth, the U becomes double O. It's soothing, isn't it? Soothe
Soothe.
instead of
It's perception. It's
Yep,
all
and a
about
lot
your
of the
perception.
language, if you go back and look at S-double-O or S-U, like the Sufi, it's S-U-F-I, but it's S-double-O-P-H-E as well, isn't it?
Well, Zeus in Hebrew means horse.
There's many things. I've got a whole heap I've written here, and it can get very deep because that's where Julianne goes when she's writing, and she'll go and look up many things, and then she'll bring a dictionary, which I did bring the dictionary along, but I'm not going to go into that because I'm not going to go into the whole emotional thing with the words, but even though that is, again, where it comes from too, because the tone someone says something to you, that holds a lot of emotion as well.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
person's tone. And so then you'll back away going, well, I'm not going to listen to that tone. So you
Mhm.
can see in the way the language has been manipulated with the words is the sound that you're making, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, the intonation
So,
makes a big difference. But the reason I brought up the Hebrew word for horse being sus is because some people use the word horse shit. So suspicious
Yeah.
ties in with
Yeah.
horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. Don't look
Uh-huh.
at
That
gift.
puts a spin on it.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well,
other
look at
horse related.
Jesus.
Jesus. I
Jesus,
know. Hmm.
which is
Yeah.
actually like Jesus.
Hmm.
Seuss, you can look up Sue, or it's a lily or a rose too. If you look up Susanna,
Hmm.
Susanna, Suzanne, see they're SU. That's where the SHs, it's all been manipulated, okay? So, it's the intention behind the way you feel when someone's speaking to you. It's the intention. And then and that's the communication that we're all going to have, is that you won't necessarily have to say anything because we'll actually feel it through our heart.
Uh-huh.
And then, right,
Mhm.
that's the connection that we'll all have, because
Yeah.
we're all magical beings, and that's what this is all about. Is, of course, we're working on our emotions, but there's a lot of it's to do with water. That's what emotion is. It's water.
Mhm.
And that's what we're going into, is this sign of water. It carries vibration, as in solid, as in flowing, as in gas, as in mutable, as in cardinal, as in fixed. Okay, so the whole waters in our body are flowing at times. They can be solid. And look at the word solid. It's soul ID. Anything that has ID on the end of it, it's your identification. So you flow with it, your identification when you flow. So that's your flowing waters. When
Right.
it's solid, that's your soul ID identification. And then when it's cardinal, that's the gas or the spirit, because that's why they're called cardinals, because that's the way to God, through cardinal. But that's spirit, that's the gas, that's the actual 3 forms of water that we know of. And so, of course, water holds memory. And as the ice melts, we're remembering. And that's our magic. That's our magic in the waters. Okay? So you just got to read your body. If it doesn't work for you today because it feels a little bit tense, well, just go with that. Go with the flow of that. Okay? I don't want to be there today, so don't go there. Just feel it. You know, like Julianne will say, I'm not going to say anything today because I feel not saying anything, right? Right? I might change my mind tomorrow because I'm allowed to change my mind.
Right.
You know? So you go, oh, she's like that. Well, that's my choice to do that today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not about getting offended.
You bring up a couple of really good points, Jules, in the fact that, you know, it's a visceral reaction, and not every emotion that we think is an emotion is an actual emotion. Some of it is like a visceral bodily reaction. Like, for example, love. A lot of people, it starts out as an emotion, but it's actually more like a vocation. It's more like a system of living. A dedication to a particular person, or sometimes it could be an ideology. Sometimes it could be
to
something
my
else.
husband. I'm
Or to your
dedicated
husband.
to him.
Exactly. So it's, at that point, it transcends like mere emotion. It's a life. It's a life.
I love that.
Deborah Sloan, you're never too late. You're never too late.
Yep. For sure.
Welcome, Deborah. Come well, everybody. Come well.
Come well.
Right?
Mhm.
Come well. That's, you know, and it's full of beauty and it's full of wonder. Everything is. Everything is.
Brandy says, or I'm sorry, Witchy Moon says, Brandy, I beat myself up for not healing faster because I know it's me doing it. And I have trouble with my brain and spine healing, years of trauma and loss and drug abuse.
There we go.
Bingo. Right there.
Now, put that phrase back up there for a second, will you, Lori?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's break it down.
Let's break it down. No. Let's alchemize. Let's alchemize the language. Okay.
Okay. Let's do it.
Let's start doing this.
Well, you see the myself bit. Talk to yourself.
Okay.
See, it's your cells you're talking to start with, everybody. It's your cells. And they will react.
I beat myself up.
Okay, now here's what I'm going to do real quick.
I defeat myself. I defeat myself.
I'm going to teach you something here, Witch Moon.
There you go.
For a second here, okay?
Class has started.
Brandy, I am no longer going to beat myself up because my healing process will occur in the time that it's right. And I have trust and faith that I will heal. I know that I can stop this because I can change the way I think about it. My brain does wonderful things for me. Not everything is the way I want it to be, and it's getting better every day. My brain has value. My brain will get me through this. My spine is being healed. There were trauma and losses for years that I no longer need to worry about because that was then and this is now.
Right.
I'm over those traumas. I'm over those processes that I used to get sucked into, and life is so much better now. I'm part of a spiritual community that is here to help me. Every time you talk about yourself, just flip it. You see what I'm doing here? Because what it's doing is it's going to transform the way you think and see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying about alchemizing the language that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Because until you can flip that and talk about yourself in a different way, then it does the reverse. It backs you no longer feel like, see, as long as you talk about it that way, that creates your own block. That you can overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you some words to write in your diary every day.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm capable of. That doesn't limit you. Cap able. That's your head, the cap. Able.
Mm-hmm.
So if you write it down, it's not saying you're good or bad at anything. You just know you're capable of it. And then it's not limiting. I know what I'm capable of.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if everybody wrote that down, you just watch what opens up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Flip the script
Or even
and see what's right about the
even
situation.
even
Look at
the
the
word.
positive.
A lot of people use the word impossible, but you could also reverse that by
I'm
saying
possible.
I'm possible. I'm
Yeah.
possible.
I'm possible.
Uh-huh.
That's right. I've written that many a times. You
Pay
look at the
attention.
words you're choosing to use. You know,
Mm-hmm.
potential is potent I all. How much more potent are you than telling yourself you've got potential?
Right.
I'm potent.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to say bad things about yourself, but it's really difficult for some
To
people
say,
to say
yeah.
positive things.
Yeah.
So flip the script
Mm-hmm.
and keep it positive, and don't ever say anything bad about yourself.
Yeah.
You're a work in progress. You know,
It's-
you
it-
came here to do the work.
Yeah, it's all about perspective. So just change your perspective. You know those things happen, so you just change
Oh,
the
I love
outlook.
this.
You know what?
Elderberry says, write a
Write a
funny,
funny
song
song.
about your situation.
There you go.
I love that. And that's
Yes.
a very creative way to do it.
It is.
I
Oh,
love
yes.
that.
That's
Right.
fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Nice, Barry.
Yeah.
Good one.
A limerick.
Be amused.
There you go.
Be amusing.
Be amused.
Be amuse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amuse yourself.
love
Amuse. And muse means music, and that's what Julianne does. She writes crazy stuff, and I don't mind being crazy because you can't manipulate a crazy person.
No.
Yeah.
Crazy
Same
like
here.
a fox.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you know, talking about, yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for calling me a fox.
Oh yeah,
Foxy mama.
you actually had me do that with somebody. Yeah, she had me doing some of that, and I was like,
I love that. I love that. That's
That's
awesome.
pretty good.
Yesterday I was out picking some of my herbs to make some smudge sticks, and I saw my neighbour was out checking the sprinklers for the avocado plantation that's across the road. So I thought I'll go and see her, and I go, hello Kate, what are you up to? I see, you know, and we chat, and we're having a pretty deep conversation on things because the trees got chopped down on our corner, and she just gave me a different reason of what they're doing with it and rah-de-rah, and it was all good. Anyway, we've been going to Christmas parties in our street for like 20 years or something, and I've watched the whole neighbourhood, how they take the mickey out of Julianne, or the piss, whatever you want to call it, you know, because I'm such a character and carry on. But they've watched, and also the daughter and the father had this conversation. They go, she can get away with it because she's able to do that in the character that she plays, whereas if someone else did it, you wouldn't be able to do it. So that's what my craft is to do it in a way that you can give a message because you play the fool, because the jester in the court was the one that got the message out.
That's right.
Wow, brilliant.
Yeah, it's true.
This came from a download that I got a few days ago.
Okay.
It's been a while. I sent it to you, Lori, a while ago. Believe that despite all the crazy things going on around you, and despite any new or uncomfortable challenges you've got to face right now, the universe still provides really good things as well for you to still enjoy. Surround yourself with good people who show you how to love and accept you for who you are. People who build you up and not tear you down. People who encourage you to express yourself and who accept your flaws and aren't turned off by you. Not those who ridicule, criticize, condemn, and complain. Rather, good people who are willing to hold you in their own heart while you piece yourself back together. Let these others go if necessary, and if you can, or at least distance yourself to the extent possible, because anyone who does that to you on a consistent basis obviously has issues of their own, and they need to walk their own path. Those who are always looking for ways to hurt you, to make themselves feel better, will throw your past mistakes in your face, and worse yet, remind you of those traumas. They are miserable in their own skins. They will never recognize the new you. They will only see the corrupted blueprint. They will never accept that you have grown beyond that now, and you are expanding into something that they don't want you to be. They are incapable of facing their own flaws, subconsciously resenting what you are doing right now. To heal physical ailments and chronic medical conditions, we must first heal our emotions and our own mistakes and be grateful for the lessons that we learned. Understand that a lot of the trauma was not caused by ourselves but by others and circumstances not in our control. Accept the reality of what happened, forgive ourselves, forgive others, and be grateful for these lessons. Be grateful for still being here. Trust in yourself, trust in the universe, love yourself, accept who you truly are now. Believe in the universe and that you have power and that there are many beautiful things yet to come your way, and believe that you will continue to expand. Everything always works out for you. So that was a download, and this is one thing that I do want to share real quick. I hear this from numerous people in our own community. Now, these are spiritually awakened people. We've all been through a lot. I'm not picking on any one person. This is just a collective. Life is so very hard. It's a daily struggle. These are really strange times. It is what it is. Instead of saying, my life is changing for the better because I am changing my response to it, there are events occurring that are not in my control. I can therefore continue to evolve and change my expectations and perceptions. I will never give up hope or faith. Here's another one. My entire family has always been this way. Corrupted, evil, selfish criminals. So I guess I'm not any better off than they were. It's my destiny, and it's repulsive. I guess it's just in my DNA. Instead of saying, my family's traits do not define who I am. I am not responsible for the decisions they made in their lives to do the kinds of things they did. I am my own person, full of love, light, and energy. I am pure, whole, and complete. I get that from Lori. And here's another one. Let's see. I'm a prisoner. I see this in the chat room. I'm a prisoner in my relationships, and I can't do anything about it. I'm so stuck here, I can't make any changes. I will, instead of this language, I will research how to change my circumstances and outline the steps necessary to break free from this environment. I will not let fear prevent me from taking those steps to get what I want. So those are just a couple of examples of the kind of language that even in a spiritual community, we have this.
Look at the word research, right?
Yeah.
That's
Search
again, see the arch. See the arch. Okay, so when you're doing that, you're actually getting things, because you're looking at things differently. You're getting the neurons to fire, to create the arc. The spark is SPARC, right?
Yeah.
Spark. So when you're doing something different, you're getting those neurons to fire on a different pathway that they've never been before. So if you're going to keep saying the same thing all the time, you're going to get more of the same. And until you start to change your words and to look at it from a different angle, you're just going to keep bringing it. I've watched it too, and that's why I've stopped being on a lot of even shows, because I don't want to be in chat rooms that keep saying the same blooming thing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Yep. Well, guys, we're coming to the end of the hour. I want to thank everybody on the panel. Oh, Grandpa Brian, you have something?
Yes.
Okay.
Witch Moon 73. I seen you said you had some spinal problems and some brain problems. I have 7 people that I do healing for every night. About this time between 10 p.m. and 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
If you would like, I would add you into that meditation, that healing that I do. Just let me know. That way, I know you're willing to receive this energy that I send out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Yes,
Brian.
and I'm one of the people he does that with, and it has really changed the whole quality of my sleeping. I used to wake up several times a night with that pinch in my neck, and I couldn't get my head straight. I was kinked all the time, and I'd wake up with pain in my spine, and I have not had any pain in my spine for at least 2 weeks.
Wow.
Awesome.
And I haven't made a difference in exercise or anything. I haven't done anything different, so I know that it's that healing energy.
Yes.
And you can actually feel it. It feels like a heating pad.
Mm-hmm.
You just
Mhm.
that the key is really before you go to bed, knowing that he's doing this and accepting it. Just empty out, do your breathing, lay down, just empty your mind and accept it. You'll feel that warmth come over you.
Yep. Okay, Brian.
Okay,
She
I
says,
will.
yes, I'm
Yeah,
so willing. There it is.
I will start tonight.
Good on ya.
Probably
Excellent.
here in about 30 minutes. Just be
Beautiful.
ready to start receiving some healing.
Be open to receiving. Yep. Keep saying that in your
That's it.
mind. I'm open to receiving the
Yep.
healing and the love from Brian and the universe. Yep. Awesome. Well, everybody,
Okay.
great show. Thank you so much. And I
Well,
appreciate everybody being here. Thank you, everyone in chat.
Come
Jules,
see
Grandpa
Brian.
Brian, Delabor, love
Thank
you.
you.
Teresa,
Huh.
excellent.
Come see Brian
Thank
with
you.
us on
Yes.
Friday night.
Yes, Friday night, Brian's going to be on some more of this. And thank you all for being here. And remember, be love.
Love you guys. Peace
Love
out.
you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.